Hi everyone, Katarina here. Thank you so much for watching this video today. In this one, I'm going to show you how I made this gorgeous floral baby frame. The frame that I used is from IKEA and it's this one here you can see on the screen. It comes with the main frame and it's real nice and deep. It's 2.5 inches deep. It comes with this frame for the inside, which I'm not going to be using today. The acrylic front, which still has the protective sheets over it. I'll not remove it until the last minute, and the insert that allows you to create real nice lovely deep shadow box frames. On the back of the frame you can see I already applied some double-sided tape. I like to attach my picture to the backing a bit. I think it just gives it a little bit more stability. So I've cut this piece of cardstock to 8 by 10 inches, just a little bit under 8 by 10 inches. And this one is one I printed in taupe color. And it is just a heavyweight white cardstock which I printed this color on. You can use anything that you like here, even pattern paper if you wish. This bit measures 4.5 by 6 inches because this is the size of the die that I used. Of course you can cut this to any size with your trimmer or guillotine. I use the die because I like the stitched edge detail that it gives to this piece of white cardstock. Of course you can't see it on camera here, but it's got that stitched edge detail. So I'm just checking with the frame that everything is nice and centered. And now I'm going to be creating these flowers. I already made 2 of the smaller ones and I'm going to make a larger one. You could see there I'm going to use 3 different shades of pastel orangey colors. Every single petal layer I have curled up a bit. So all the petals are curled up. For the 2 smallest ones, I'm going to be folding them upwards, so going with the curl in those petals. This will create the bud for me. By the way, I used my silhouette die cutting machine to cut these different layers, but you can use any dies that you have, or you can also hand cut these if you don't have an electronic die cutting machine. This layer is the same size that the first one was, and I'm just going to add it just to create a little bit of a bigger bud to my rose. And I'm using hot glue gun, but be careful, it's easy to burn your hands. I'm well used to using the hot glue guns. At this point you really don't need to. You can use any quick grab glue you may have in your stash. Every single petal has 2 of the same size, so this one I will start folding them upwards the other way, so the curled petals are facing downwards, and this will allow me to create that lovely open rose. So just a little bit of a hot glue and I'm pressing the bud inside of this. Again with the same one, a little bit of a glue, and now I'm offsetting this, so where the petals were earlier on, now I have the empty space between the petals. Taking my next sizes again, which I have 2 of again, and just repeating the same process until I get to the size that I want this rose to be. I wanted this rose to be slightly larger than the other 2 I already prepared, and this one will be sitting in the middle between those 2 roses. So those 2 are probably the size that I have ready now, but I wanted to add some extra layers for this one. You can go as big or as little as you want with this. Honestly, if you start off with a bigger bud, then you will have an even bigger rose. I was playing with the space in here. I kind of knew, because I've made frames like this before, so I kind of knew what sizes I needed. The smallest one is probably about 3/4 of an inch, and I worked my way up from there. So this is, I think it's ready. I was just checking earlier on the frame in there to see if I wanted to go even bigger than what I had done, and I wanted to be distinctively bigger than the other 2 on the side. So this will allow me to create a lovely, nice floral arrangement. Now I'm taking some more of those exactly same petals just to create slightly different flowers. All I'm doing is curling the edges of them downwards and pressing down in the middle just to create a bit of a dimension. gluing them on top of each other, a smaller layer inside the larger one, offsetting again. And I'm using stamens, which I've cut out using dies, which I had in my stash from Chloe's Creative Crafts. This one was from the Beautiful Bouquets collection. And I've cut these out in all 3 sizes. I wasn't sure how many of which I will be using yet, but I used exactly the same 3 shades of pastel orangey colored paper to cut those. The last flowers that I'm going to create now is these lilies. And these are my own templates. I've had these on my laptop for forever now. I use these in all different sizes for all different projects. And this is what the template looks like. Now you can go just on Google and find some templates. I'm sure you will be able to easily find some. I love lilies. I think they just add so much cuteness to these projects. So I'm curling all the 5 petals backwards, and I'm going to pull them up like into a little cup, and I'm going to add a bit of glue onto the little tab, which you can put on the inside or the outside. I'm gonna go with the outside because it will be hidden anyway. You'll not see this on these projects. Now I will be adding stamens. I use 2 different ones, white ones and like yellow orangey ones, which match the color of this floral theme already. For this video I'm going to be using the yellow ones because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. It would be very hard to see the white on the white. Inside the white lilies, I mean. So I'm just going to take some of those yellow ones, and I'm picked out I think 5 or 6 of them. And these stamens, by the way, I got them from all over the place. I have so many of them in so many different colors from eBay, from Amazon, and I think those white ones are actually Crafter's Companion ones. And they come in all different sizes, but it's so easy to create these yourself. So I'm just cutting them down to very short ones. You can see just barely any overhang left below the stamen heads. I think that's what you call them. I'm not even sure. So I'm just pulling them up into a little bunch, adding a bit of glue to the end of them, and I'm going to push this inside the lily. Again, be careful if you're using hot glue, you really don't need to. I'm well used to it, but by the time I got to the stage to be used to hot glue, I did get some nasty burns along the way. The foliage you can see that I also used from Chloe's Creative Crafts die to cut those out. And those are from the Beautiful Bouquet collection as well. So in here I'm starting to arrange them on the frame, which way I want them to be. Those little ones are exactly the same petals that I used for the roses, only much smaller ones. So Bundle Sage Distress Oxide inks was the one that I added to those foliages because I've just cut them out of white cardstock to start with. For the roses on the back, I'm adding foam pads, and I layered 2 or 3 foam pads on each. I wanted them to be lovely and dimensional. I didn't want to press down and flatten them down into the frame. This adds such lovely texture to it. I love adding foam pads behind my flowers. Now I'm pulling off the leaves of those foliage branches, and I'm just adding them here and there in all different sizes. Some of them I'm leaving in 3s. You'll see me adding them all around this floral arrangement, and I am adding a bit of a dimension to every single one of these leaves just by pinching them upwards in the middle. Once I'm done with the foliage, for now anyway, it's time to add my gorgeous lilies, and I'm going to be tucking them here and there all over that beautiful floral arrangement. Before I go further decorating this frame, I want to add the name, and I spelled out Sophie. And I use my silhouette die cutting machine to cut out all these letters. For the letters, the top layer, I used the lightest shade of the same cardstock I used for the flowers. And for the shadow ones, I used holographic silver cardstock, one of my favorites. I love using the holographic one. Not only on cards, but you see how gorgeous it looks on frames too. So I'm just using my ruler just to make sure that they are nice and straight, and I find it easiest to add the two outermost letters first, and then it's easy just to space the ones in the middle evenly. That leaf was bothering me. I decided to swap it for a much smaller one. So for the baby's details, the date of the birth, the time, and the weight of the baby, I used the same color cardstock I used for the name Sophie, and I printed it out and I cut it out on my die cutting machine again. And for the shadow layer on all those banners, I used the holographic cardstock again. So I'm just making some more of these flowers that I made at the start of this video, and I'm just using all the different colors that I already used on some of those floral arrangements on the top left corner. So this is my third shade. And I like to work with these three shades. I've made different projects with these before. I'm not sure I did them on video, but I love them. They're just so lovely and soft. Honestly, I just love these. By the way, if you're interested in the cardstock, is 160 GSM cardstock for all these three shades, and I got them on eBay a long time ago. I think one of them is called Salmon, and the other one is Peach, the darkest one, and the middle shade, the yellowish one, I think it's Pumpkin. I'm not too sure on that. I got them a long time ago. So I'm adding the banners, and I added back the frame just to make sure that I know it's evenly spaced, and I have foam tape behind every single one of those banners. It adds a lovely dimension again. I'm gluing down these flowers, and then I'm gonna come back with those tiny flowers that you can see on the top right corner in there. They're exactly the same ones, only cut to much smaller. And I will be adding them all around the floral arrangement on the left hand side there. And then I will be adding also rhinestones in the middle of those. The rhinestones that I will be adding, I'll show it here on camera in a minute. It's from the range, and I've had them in my stash for such a long time. They are lovely sparkly ones. So this little photo mat is just for a placeholder for now, just to know where I am adding all my gorgeous flowers. And I'm just again shaping them a bit, just folding the petals backwards and pressing down in the middle. I find if you do that to the flowers, it makes a whole lot of a difference. It really lifts it up and brings them to life rather than having them just lying flat against my background. And now I'm going to take my photo mat, which is of the same salmon color, which I've cut to 3.5 by 2.5 inches, and I glued it on top of the white piece of cardstock. You can do this any size at all that you want your photo to be. And I'm adding two little flowers on the bottom left and the top right corner. I'm making sure that the glue only goes on the petals that are not on top of the photo mat. So you'll be able to tuck your photo in there before gluing the photo onto the photo mat. This yellow piece of cardstock just pretending to be my photo for now. It is just to show you how it would work. And my least favorite part of a hot glue is to clean up the glue strings. But this is it. The photo frame is ready. How gorgeous does it look? I've made photo frames like this before with all different color combinations. I made a lovely pink one for a birthday girl. I made a new baby one with all different flowers in it, the pinks, the yellows, the purples, and it looked lovely and colorful. So this is a perfect present, I think, and you can personalize this in so many ways just by adding different colors, different flowers. I hope I showed you something you might give a go to, and I hope you liked today's tutorial, and if you did, please give me the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and also leave me a comment. Let me know if you like this type of frames, and I will be back very soon with another lovely tutorial, and until then, bye!